Hey, we're going to do some Vibecoding. We're going to start on this game, which is going to be quite interesting. We're kind of at the limits of where and what you can do with Vibecoding, really. Like, we've got this game we've Vibecoded in Go. It's actually quite like a serious project, so it's got audio. It's all procedurally generated from file, the features and labels, and I've got an art generator as well, actually, I run. And it's actually like a real kind of controller support game here. That's what we're going to do is we're going to rewrite it, basically. It's a serious game. I'm actually going to sell this on Steam, so you can do, like, you can build. It's kind of using AI for what it's good for. Like, it can create heaps of features basically in a game. It's even got a job system in here. So it's basically like a bullet hell game where you've got some complexity to it. Like, you can have versus mode, AI opponents, and yeah, like a Final Fantasy job system as well, Final Fantasy 7 style. You can have heaps of magic, and even like use items and such. But you see there's a bit of stuttering, like the FPS is a bit stuttering, so yeah, we can have a look at that. I think what we're going to do is just rewrite the entire thing in Golang, from Golang to Zig. So the idea is that there's some things that we could just like keep going with Golang. It's kind of interesting, just like a language translation project. You often want to rewrite languages. So I know a good programmer was saying you don't really understand it until you've rewritten it 3 times. But no, you don't really understand either way because you're Vibecoding. But I get the reason why you'd want to rewrite this in Zig is because of that FPS stuttering. Like, there's a lot of things in Zig, like the manual memory becoming explicit. There's a lot of things you can do in Golang anyway, but it's effectively like the garbage collector in Go comes up at a kind of unknown time and does like a bit of work, which can interfere with the FPS. I'm not sure if that's what's happening here. It's probably not, but it's like an easy way to rule that out. I've already done a lot of like rounds of optimization, and it's starting, like, the AI uses kind of things like geohashes, similar to Elasticsearch, where the actual map is kind of cut up into like a number representing what square and what sub-square. So it's using a lot of like already kind of AI optimizations to figure out, like, oh, there's a lot of enemies in this area, maybe I'll like run away to a place where there's less enemies, and the pathfinding's like A style. So I've already like developed a lot of algorithms, and yeah, we can do more optimization, or we can go over to Zig. I think Zig, it's like a trade-off. Like, there's other things that can go wrong in Zig, like you manually manage your memory. There's not like the safety aspect, so you can overrun the bounds of an array and then have like an illegal instruction error, or overwrite some memory and have like some kind of those types of issues that are like hard crashes. So we will, I think another thing we'll run on top of it is we can do, like, you have to think about like the stages of the Vibecoding. So we can just do like, let's just move over all the files, file for file, and then we will like review all the files, and then we'll have like another process that deals with that memory safety type stuff. So we can run valgrind with some kind of agentic loop, so that we can make sure that those kind of memory leaks don't happen. Hopefully with Zig, I think the AI tends to, I think it's it's RL trained like to get good code now, but it still has a lot of issues kind of reverting to the mean of code. So like it'll generate old libraries and old calls to old models and such. So the good code is kind of like a moving target. So it can, yeah, it can kind of end up generating this kind of idiomatic code in the language, and maybe your average Go code isn't as optimized as Zig code. So yeah, well, anyway, we'll see if this actually does fix these performance issues. I know that Zig has got a lot of nice things, like and people tend to be quite like cautious in Zig of padding. Like you'll make a struct and you kind of make sure it's like byte aligned, so that it's like got that kind of data programming style where it like actually fits the amount of memory into the machine nicely. And yeah, it supports like SIMD without having to like drop into assembly and see. So we can kind of mention why to the AI that we are rewriting, and then yeah, how to get better. Doing that kind of planning type stuff, it is good to like do a deep research. I did do a deep research, and just kind of figuring out what the project's going to look like. Why are we doing it? That kind of thing. So we can. We don't need it to be WebGPU. We don't need it to be a web game, but I'll maybe take some of this stuff into a prompt. I also run a fork of Codex, so this is a good use case for this kind of thing. I made it some flags to make it actually be a bit more aggressive with following up on stuff, and then this one makes it run forever. So we'll try this out, and yeah, see how like a run forever coding agent can do like a really like a large task like this. Yeah, it would be a little bit careful with this because it's like a lot of tokens here, so it doesn't need to. We don't really need all of this stuff. Yeah, it looks like you can do some kind of runtime safety stuff with release safe. I didn't know that. That's pretty interesting. We probably don't need that. We need to have multi-threading. We have like in a game you've got like your physics tech, where you're doing like your physics and your AI, and that's like less frequent than your actual re-rendering, which ends up being, would target like 60 frames a second or something very, very fast. And with AI you'll find that it's like different slower resolutions, so you can do like a long-term planning type thing, but it's kind of hard because you do need like the one main thread that's always rendering basically. And maybe Zig's kind of nice as well because you can build like a small binary and you can do like cross-platform stuff. But you need to be careful with like a language rewrite. Like you don't. The reason why you want to plan it out in like a deep research tool is because like it can blow out into a lot of work. Like you might not want to rewrite. Like there are I think it's called like Tiny Go or something. There's a way to like get a really small binary out of a Go program, and then rewriting it might not even be required. It probably isn't required, but yeah, let's just see how it goes. And we might get some of these benefits. Yeah, and I kind of like Zig. It's got really fast build times. I'm not that much of a fan of Rust because of the long build times. I think borrowing is also a bit of a complicated pattern. That can trip people up or make it a little bit. It's a bit of a learning curve. But one thing about Zig as well is that it's not as popular as Rust and Go. So that's actually a big thing with AI languages. So it's good to kind of decide on the task difficulty as well. Like I think this is basically a hard task, so I'll have to use like a frontier model. I can't really use Spark because I'm wanting it to like not just rewrite but I'm wanting it to like so fix these issues as we go. Like that's kind of the reason why we're rewriting. This isn't that great of a deep research actually. It doesn't have like that much of a like that much of a plan. In terms of like, it's not great of a prompt. So I should probably like consider doing another one more about maybe like the features that we're looking for to use, like get it a bit more crispness. But I guess we'll just try paste most of this into the prompt. It's hard because you don't want to like confuse it. Yeah, we do have some texture atlases, and that's why it's kind of a hard task, is because it's at the limit already of kind of where Vibecoded games are. So yeah, we'll try to just paste this, but we should have a bit more, maybe we probably get a better prompt by turning that off now and saying like, let's go over a quick few features we can use in Zig to increase the FPS of our game, like some of the game engine code and some of like SIMD and padding type issues, and how to use Valgrind to find memory leaks and such. We need like some more density of a plan, really, like some more dense information. Yeah, that is a little bit light on detail, that plan, and yeah, so we're a bit more Zig syntax, and it hasn't really dug into like a game yet. Yeah, I think I've given it the GitHub. I could use the GitHub thing here. I don't. Yeah, we'll disable it globally. Just be good at coding. I think I can do this. I just think it's at the level of the limit of what it can do, because it's got like complicated AI and such. Yeah, so there's a few different types of things. If you double free memory and then try to use it, it might actually be allocated to something else. Yeah, so you can debug the binary. Okay, so yeah, we'll see how this one goes. This is a bit more. We will hopefully get. So just got a few, finishing off my. I've got some aliases here for actually using this this Codex tool. I was thinking of like not using the Spark model basically because it's a hard task. So this is kind of the command I'm going to run basically. I'll go with high reasoning, and then I'll try this next steps type stuff. So it's not too complicated. There's actually like some prompts that get cycled in my fork of Codex that literally just say like, oh, can you like keep going, like just do the obvious next things, or like you should now, once you've kind of done this, it detects if it's done with like a file, and then it says, oh, you've like written to the I'm done all the next obvious things file. Then it then goes on to this next idea. If you use that, it goes fully autonomously, and then it says like, let's actually think about the next thing you really need to do. So yeah, we've got this uses OpenGL, or I think it uses DirectX and Vulkan, or it uses a few different graphics libraries actually, but yeah, we made this Bullet Zig project. It's literally nothing here yet. So yeah, so we use alias Codex high, the next idea. This is my Codex fork on high. So so all the stuff like Zig. So you would say like, let's rewrite the Bullet Go project from Go to Zig, and we need to fully get to 100% project parity. First we will rewrite pretty much file by file, but the idea is that we actually improve as we go, make sure to use Zig best practices, be careful about where we allocate and deallocate memory, and how we define our structs to get better performance, and maybe improve FPS, or hopefully improve FPS with latest practices like SIMD or like async GPU type stuff that we can improve. We have to move from the ebitengine library in Golang over to some Zig based or C based libraries. And then for files, I would just like copy the art basically. This is a voice type extension I wrote in. It actually uses Gemini. It's not quite right. It's like it's in Zig where it should say Zig, but I actually prompted it that I'm a programmer, so like it does get some programming terminology like SIMD, FPS. Like it actually does a good job of my voice. I've got a bit of a kind of strange voice, so it actually got quite a lot of that text right. So it's actually the best voice typing extension, I believe, because it's on Gemini 3.1. And I think that's going to have the best error rate when you're speaking here. So do try that out. Yeah, and like like Golang, it's like it's like maybe better. It's hard to say. It's pretty good with the stylings now, so it doesn't matter too much. I'll just reference the old after moving file by file, we need to then review the entire code base, implement, let's write it all into a review.md file, and then start improving FPS. We need to actually get the self-play game simulator going. It will track a few metrics like FPS as well, and then do a round of testing with Vibecoding. So I'm basically getting normally you'd like not have such a giant prompt. Like this is going to be like a lot of work in the one prompt. Here. Yeah, so basically once I've done this, pretty much that. Responsive paragraphs. There's maybe some kind of issue in my my matching discriminator. That's weird. Looks like I've got some bug in my Codex fork here. So we'll ask Claude to fix that one. And merge in the upstream branch and retest and rebuild the binary. So that's going to take a bit longer to fix that. I'm not quite sure why that one is, but I'll fix my fork. I think I just added. So I did just add a feature here where you can do like review, like as you're talking to Codex, it kind of blocks you from using /review and from using from changing model mid prompt. So I want it to be more interactive than that. Like you should be able to just go /model. Yeah, while the task is in progress. I don't think it's related to that. I've got a command to like git ignore and unstage said file. But it seems to get restaged. So yeah, I really don't know why this snapshot keeps not get ignored. And I don't actually know what the snapshot is. Yeah, it seems like some kind of useless file. Let's move it. I'll do it later. I used to have a thing that just moves it to the trash like an alias. I think it can be a bit more aggressive about removing stuff. Yeah, that git ignore thing is just yeah, just adding it to git ignore and unstaging it. I guess while I wait for that, it's compatible with Codex, so I can just I've got another alias for running Codex, so I'll just see what Codex does with that same prompt. I thought it would share the same prompt storage actually. That's a bit weird. It didn't. Yeah, that's basically what I want, but this won't have the auto next steps and the auto next idea. So I'm actually going to wait for this to be fixed by Claude. Yeah, it's quite interesting. Inside here, sometimes Codex can get a bit confused about why I'm asking it to do things like /review when it's like, oh, I don't want a /review. You have to like /review. it kind of gets a bit confused working on itself. So yeah, maybe OpenAI is there a different agent for working inside Codex, but I think Opus might be doing better in this specific repo. So I've been using Opus here. Yeah, like maybe I should get on the latest zig or something. It's probably a good idea. Now that I'm making new projects. Move to codebase, that's interesting. Looks like they left GitHub. A lot of people are having problems with GitHub. I know, I see some of the community complaining, like, this looks pretty cool. I know that Hashimoto, the guy that created GhostTTY, you see him complaining about GitHub, and it does have a lot of it's just really just being a bit of a flaky dependency. They do have tags on here. Yeah, it's latest sig, isn't it? So that's the annoying, kind of weird thing about Vibecoding is I can probably just like leave at this point and then come back, and yeah, maybe I'll just leave this and see how this goes. But the problem with Codex is it is quite a little bit of a lazy model, which is why I created this fork, is because I just found it giving up a lot of the time, or saying like, do you want me to run the tests or something? And it's like, yes, it's like a harmless thing, you should always run the tests as you do everything. Yeah, like you should probably could use a prompt like that, or saying something like that, like go from the leaves and then like well test as you go, so you're not like building on top of broken code, so to speak. Can be like a good way to probably maybe get a bit more performance out of this. Yeah. But you can also just queue up heaps of tasks manually in here, like you'd say, like let's get the visual audit working, so the test that will write out actual images, and then you can read them again with the read tool, so that you know the game is rendering properly, or rendering similarly to the old Golang code base. So it'll do like a compare at the actual image level, so use its image understanding. I do that for kind of some I've got a few agents coming out soon, like a data science agent that will build a graph, and it needs to use its own visual tool, visual understanding, to actually say, oh, this is generated a good graph for this query. Yes, it's a line chart, and it's got a zeroed axis. It will be able to do some more like advanced understanding, I guess. Yeah. I've actually got a bot that, like, I'm not that far. There's only 5 merge conflicts. I do have a bot that's kind of interesting, that keeps me up to date. Like every day, I think, actually will pull in upstream and keep my fork up to date. Because like that issue might just be my fork is not up to date. Probably not. Every time OpenAI will release a new model, I will need to update. So yeah, my fork is I think it's in a cron. Yeah, there's a cron. There's like a daily cron. actually just like a Claude. Yeah, it's like it's got to coding seek, so I'll just leave this be and come back in a bit of time and see how it's gone. Maybe send a few messages in case it stops. I think 30 FPS is fine for the game, but we can ask for a lot of FPS or something. It probably won't bring all the features properly, so yeah, so even the Codex like extra high model does have like syntax errors and stuff. I would expect like heaps of syntax errors to come through if I tried the Spark model. Although it would be like really satisfying to see that like really quickly try to do this. I think it's going to be like, yeah, harder task than something Spark is going to be able to do. And we might need to do some, we've already got some of this art pipeline, we might need to do like some other task. Like, just make sure everything matches up again. I already like programmed this tool into the Golang version. Pipeline over. So we can generate assets from file using ZImage and by RefNet background remover. That didn't work so well. So that's the background remover we use from file. I guess we don't need to rewrite it in Zig, we just need the code. Yeah, and then I'll just go away and see what this does. Let's see. It's kind of interesting. Yeah. Close that. We can just you can come back or something. I'll just go and see how we go. Yeah. Go get lunch.
Vibecoding.
So we're back. Sorry, I didn't let it see. Let you see what's actually going on. It's basically done all this work, but yeah, we can test where it's got to. That didn't seem to go for that long, actually. So it's like not actually done a full game. But maybe there's a command or something that I need to run. Sig test, real run simulate, self-play. Doesn't seem to have sometimes Claude can be a bit better at having I didn't. I said that. Looks like it's still doing stuff. So I think I'll just use a similar prompt to I used before. Yeah. Something like that. Also just give it to Claude. Now I wait. See how it goes. I'll just finish my I'll just check that it's actually rebuilt the binary. Yeah. Yeah. So it's kind of interesting. Like, let's see if my I don't know if I need this many agents going at once, but let's see if I've fixed the fork of Codex that has multiple gaps. I can try that self-play thing. Oh, if it's ready. Yeah. Oh, still. So that's my. I think that it actually takes a long time to build this big project. It takes 5 minutes, but seems like a bit of flagginess around the tools endpoint. I didn't change anything. It's kind of weird that it's on main, like it's tracking main. Should just like be on main. I'll just get Claude to fix this. I don't think any of these are too bad. I ended up spending like heaps of time on the tooling. I might even just rewrite this whole thing in Zig as well to get like this build process taking 5 minutes is actually really bad. Like yeah, it basically just takes too long to have AI agents fix things if it's yeah, if it takes 5 minutes every time you're building. Our work like auto next steps, auto next idea, Gemini support also needs to be maintained. I think we did minimax, an open router. We'll give it like more context than it's thinking about like nitty gritty, but I'm like, yeah, I just want you to like kind of broadly speaking go in the right direction. And then I'll get it to fix some of this compile time stuff. I'd always get worried when I see it try to do a git rebase. It's just more like intricate of a thing. Sometimes I end up waiting a while as well to say to Claude, I don't want to like overwhelm it with here's more jobs while you're in the middle of a merge. Yeah, interesting decision. So what do we got? Raylib or Suckle? Suckle's like cross-platform. I think Raylib is as well. Just I guess we'll do window first because hopefully we've already got a lot of the logic. It looks like Codex gave up after like a very short amount of time. But yeah, just go full parity. Do it.
Check.
Sorry, I'm kind of wondering now if I had have used Spark. Like, maybe I could have just like told it to do the easy part, like rewrite file by line, because it is like output tokens are what is going to take the time. Like using these high-end models, output tokens, yeah, generating output tokens is expensive. It takes more time. So you can kind of do the bulk work with a smaller model, but I just kind of have a hunch that if I had tried Spark, it would like there would be too many issues, and then it would spend similar or more amounts of tokens on the kind of rewriting loop, and I may be like left with some kind of hard to find bug fixes or crashes that can be like things that I don't get to see until I playtest, which is like often that's the best thing, is to use the highest even this X high thinking. Well, this is on high thinking. X high thinking might have even been better, like to really think through, like, are we really going file by file? I think one thing that might have been good is to you can get Spark to do the plan, so you can get Spark to quickly say, like, what are all the files that I'm missing, and find that diff, and then often actually implementing like complicated stuff in code, it can be quite thought intensive. So you need like a high quality model to do that part, especially if it's like advanced 3D stuff, machine learning type code, where you it needs to be good because you're going to spend a long time on like training or inference after writing said code. It's going to use up a lot of machine resources, so you need that code to be like relatively pristine. So you end up needing to use like the higher, like getting your money's worth really out of using better models. It looks like it is in just finished and managed to P99 frame under 19 milliseconds. That sounds good. That's like well under. Yeah, I think I need to do something. Someone needs to do something about the Go tooling. I mean the Rust tooling with like the long build times. Okay, we're back. Maybe it's finished our tool, and got me. I'm complaining about this one online, so it's not done anything. That's kind of the annoying thing about plan, is it always asks you as it comes out of plan mode. So where did this get to? Sounds like it's still getting things to pause. Yeah, it's still just early stages. So now we've got these two going. We'll try and the next idea, and the next step's the next idea. Let's see if this works now. I guess I'll just give it like the same prompt. It's kind of a little bit like Ralphing it, and you kind of start to feel a little bit grindy, but Maybe this can be like the one that's reviewing the code. So a file from the new project and a file from the old project, and then let's review and make sure we are getting all of the best benefits. So we have an associated test that runs quickly. We have a associated test with Valgrind, and doing a good job of like allocating memory and this kind of data-oriented programming where the structs fit nicely. And yes, we have efficient GPU code and parallel like SIMD type code. So I've got like a good feeling about Claude. It tends to be, once it plans out stuff, it's pretty good. Yeah, we're using Codex High. This might be a little bit premature to start this one, but most of the time it won't hurt if this thing's just like improving code. And these two are writing code, they already might step on each other a little bit. But I figure using these slower high-end coding agents is maybe going to be a little bit faster than having these the faster ones like Spark or Claude Sonnet. They can be fairly messy, especially with like Zig or complex code. Yeah, so it's doing that. I've also got another Vibecoding experiment. I can show you guys what's it called. What else am I working on? I guess that's a good thing about Vibecoding. You can like work on heaps of things at once. I'm working on a video editor with Network. Let's keep improving our video editor. The UI is still looking a bit too cluttered and too featureful, but the features themselves need to be a bit better and a bit more like tightly organized. Keyboard accessible. And let's start to build out an audio library. An audio search function. I've actually got it's like Golang based on GoBed, like a really fast search engine I wrote using embeddings, and can run in like 1 millisecond on the GPU. Yeah, so that's just like a weird experiment that came up with our Zig project. I don't like show too much of my my computer actually, but those are called waves. I think this is in Zig as well. Yeah, so oh, it keeps loading on the wrong screen. I'll show you by maybe. Well, it's hard to show you. Let's see. The shader simulation needs a lot of different sliders for the intensity of the Aurora Borealis and for the wave settings like the amplitude of the waves, the blending points between the waves to the shore and the deep sea waves, and the wind needs some settings for like the speed and how much the amplitude and vibration will take into effect. And the area of the wind simulation. I was just experimenting with the different shaders in this project. I was experimenting with Gemini and another like experiment with the frontier models really. But yeah, that makes it kind of a nice effect here. But I don't want it to capture the mouse output, just like I won't move the window to show you. Let's not capture the mouse output, we just need, yeah, don't capture the mouse for now. So I can move the window. I think I already did that. Yeah, maybe we'll, if we can get good enough simulations. It's kind of a nice Aurora Borealis effect here. I'm just experimenting with, everyone's doing ocean simulators, so I thought I'd do that. But I kind of need to, I guess, like throw a textbook at the model a bit. I do have the, you can't see it, but there's a shader book, and I've got another rendering book I'm reading as well. I'm kind of getting through this classic real-time rendering. It's very readable in the GPU gems and such. I sometimes throw into the context to get these shaders looking good. Gemini's been doing okay. It does need many iterations of prompting. Yeah, like so that's tracking the mouse. So even just tracking the mouse is a bit complex. But if any of these effects are quite good, I could like then re-Vibecode them into different languages, like take them into Unreal Engine or take them into Unity, and then sell those on the App Store. But we don't know if it's going to be any value yet, because this has just been a one day long Vibecode experiment in here. So and there's some stuff I prompted it with, like a I think I gave it like an IBL and some textures of the water, but not really textures, mostly just procedurally generated in shaders. I think most of it is in this renderer, and source. So it's managed to at least write some shader code that renders the screen, and maybe the most of it is in this is in here. Yeah, there's all sorts of stuff like terrain height, how much the sand is wet. It's not doing a particularly good job of the island yet. And there's a little Vibecode. I haven't even looked at this code before. Like, eventually you'll get to the point where you like have to look at the code. So it's like adding, I guess, 6 layers of noise here. Getting some normal it's kind of augmented by the height map. Maybe the height map's controlling actually how high the waves are. It'll probably be a pretty big migration to like Unreal Engine, because it's like C++, and it still uses shaders, but it's going to need to like hook into the render pipeline. And same with Unity, it'll be like the what's it called, the URP or the HDRP, like they've got 2 realistic renderer and like a less realistic renderer that you have to like plug into either of those if you want to actually sell these commercially. Those are probably where you would actually sell shaders and effects. But even if you can kind of like gloss over the code and say like, it's a bit slow, like, or the waves aren't complicated enough, let's like add, you can do like variable twinking where you can just tweak that variable in the wave, or just tell it to do something. Like it's just kind of surprising how little of an understanding you actually need for Vibecoding stuff. Like we'll see what it looks like, but yeah, still not at the stage where we even need pretty low res here, but I know I can't look around anymore with that's our island with our waves. That's actually looking pretty good. I would want it to be like darker blue around the deeper sea, and then have like better render distance. Same with that. It's got like, you know, like there's a view frustum that it's like clipping. There's too much like far plane clipping. We need to get really good at rendering far as well. Maybe bring a bit of the blue, darker blues in as you get deeper. And now that we've disabled the mouse, looks like I can't look around. Often you probably want to do like less in one prompt, like just one at a time. You probably get better results, but these models are getting pretty capable now, so like I could have definitely split that actually. Yeah, no, it just happened a bit faster. Yeah, so it looks like, you know, and now we'll be like, oh, yeah, maybe it's going to add rendering time. So we can have a little FPS timer or something, and we can just keep kind of going back and forth between like better quality rendering and better quality code, I guess, that is more efficient. And we might get to the point where we've got some useful effects in here. Yeah, we'll see. Still doing some kind of lot stuff on our game. Still doing a lot of different stuff here. This is the one that we. So this is our build. I haven't seen any windows pop up to do like the self-play testing. Yeah, so this is our auto next steps type stuff. Quick performance pass. So it's like yeah, see, I want it to kind of tell me what it should do, and then to say for auto next steps here to kind of say, yeah, like keep going. What you think you're supposed to do here is probably right, and so then it starts pretty much doing what it said. Allocation failure regression tests along the memory pool. It's done a little bit different, but it seems like it's like useful. You know, useful work basically to continue on, and it's kind of a little bit augmented by this. But these are randomized as well, so it doesn't start looping and kind of try to fix the same thing again. So I did a little bit of steer it there, but most of the time I don't really want to steer it too much. I'll probably refine these prompts, these kind of continuation prompts, so that it's it's got that distinction basically. The auto next steps is what this is. Oh no, this is the auto next idea prompt, so it's like it's kind of finished. Where it should have potentially used the next steps prompt, because it did kind of call out what it's supposed to do next. I wanted it to kind of have to call out that it's completely finished for it to like toggle over to the auto next idea prompts. So there might be some kind of thing I can fix here. Yes, that's built. That's great. I don't know what these snapshots are. It's like these weird snapshots. Looks like I think that's like a part of the testing where it yeah, so I think I can ignore those, but it sounds like part of the testing. I might just commit them. Yeah. So we can see a diff if it turbo comes out with some new snapshots. If we change things, yeah, I'm kind of like vulnerable to getting like collisions and stuff, like get collisions, but it's probably fine. It doesn't look like that's going to be showing any of my like keys or anything. Sometimes I'll just ask AI to actually audit it, so it's like so I'm going to like have my my credentials and stuff in there. Oh, weird. I've got a looks like I've got some credential helper thing. So I can fix my .files. Yeah, I end up spending a lot more time in the tooling these days. Looks like I've done some weird stuff in Windows. Looks like I've done some weird config where maybe like Windows is interfering. This should support Windows and Linux like nice and independently. Maybe let's not have the same git config file on Windows and Linux. Make sure this is all separated out, and then commit, and then go to that Codex project, and then let's actually push that and npm publish that too. Like, it's basically I try and ask more stuff now from AI because I'm more confident it can actually be able to do stuff end to end. Like Opus is quite good at kind of keeping going. Yeah, like this is nice and thorough. Oh yeah, I probably want to just make sure this is because it may have, like, let's say it's missed doing that thing that it thinks it should do. Yeah. I just use this one, I guess. I'll use a new one. It's like lower context. Okay, so here's a transcript of the agent as it is working. To me it looks here like we need to make sure there's a file, let's say a temp file, that we get the agent to write to if it's actually finished doing all of the auto next steps. So we need like prompting saying that it needs to actually, so let's say if we send the auto next idea flag, we actually have to tell it that it must write to the file to actually indicate that it has completely ran out of ideas. Looking at this in the log, it looks more like we still had another idea left, and then we moved on to a auto next idea. So we kind of, I guess the agent got off track where it should have used like a auto next steps prompt. I think Claude is pretty good at like working on agentic code bases. Like, it's only recently, it was kind of interesting that like 3.5, like quite a while ago, it was maybe the first time they started really understanding agentic code bases. Like before, like back in the day in GPT-4 and such, it was kind of like, oh, why are you trying to like call this API with text in a loop? Like it didn't really understand the concept of what you're trying to do with the agent. But now you can kind of get them to, they're a little bit of a verbose writing system, but so sometimes I just demarcate to like, hey, this is log of agent, then follow up from previous. So I used to have this, I had a huge merge conflict basically, and so I might have like got rid of some of my change that I need to just make sure it's kind of getting what we're doing. Probably don't need to say this. Yeah, it's got it. So this will actually run forever. Like this is running in an infinite loop. So at some point, obviously, it's going to mess itself up, and then it'll run compile, and you don't need to like keep checking on it. Like yeah, like this is not a game, you know, it's a simulation of how many. Oh yeah, we can maintain like 60 FPS or something. You can still interrupt it and it will still run forever. It actually takes precedence, like the prompt that you run in here will take precedence over all of the auto next steps and the auto next idea prompts. This will probably take another few hours, honestly. A quirky custom power function. Looks like we're rolling our own power, so sometimes it's taking things that are not necessarily good from the old code base. Integer exponent style loop. Yeah, so that's kind of like you probably don't want to roll your own, you know, method of power. But maybe, yeah. Like it, you know, is this going to give you a better game? You know, probably not. it's hard to really know, like, from looking at the mathematics, looking at the code, like, yeah, are you on the right track making a better game? It's kind of the, like, you end up with Vibecoding, you just end up meeting it where you are, because your time is like very precious, so you're kind of like, well, I'll not spend too long kind of going over the nitty-gritty of the code. Like, you can have some weird code in there, but I'll just look at the metrics, like the FPS or whatever that comes out, and then if the game crashes, like and that's kind of why Vibecoding is even viable, really, in the sense of making games, because they're like a very unconstrained system. You don't need to do something specific, you just need it to be fun. So we can kind of get away with saying that's fine. Yeah, it might take a while refactoring all these tests and stuff as well to get the right numbers in there, and expecting it to take oh yes, so this is why, yeah, per safety rules, they actually have a prompt in here. OpenAI made a prompt, and I actually, in my fork, I fixed all the prompting, so it's much more aggressive with like a very concise prompt. That you'll notice this is actually working faster, especially now that it's compacted. This is actually much faster than the OpenAI version. They've got rules saying like, hey, if you have some other git changes, like, don't just stop and ask. So yes, we are working with other people in this repo. Let's just keep going as best we can. Trying to fix their work and just keep at it. Make sure you're working fully autonomously and getting towards feature parity of the actual game itself. So the self-play tests and the zig build run should actually run the game. It's just like a simulation right now. So let's actually get fully to feature parity. Don't worry, I'm working in here. Just do whatever you think is best. Don't stop. So this is kind of why, if you're working on a really big long project, you probably, yeah, give my fork a try, or you can also give Codex Infinity a try, which is my kind of a shameless plug. Oh shit. Okay, my prod side is down. Goodness me. Maybe that's made Vibecoding too much, but we can I don't think everything's broken today. So I'm just really need to fix production. So production is giving me this error. I think we need to really get on top of the build. Use this SSH command from devdocs.md, SSH to prod, get the git lining up, so git commit all this. Then after fixing this, we should redeploy and note to run prod in the dev equals true environment. Dev equals false. So yeah, hopefully hopefully this will fix it. Yes, I did Vibecode my prod site. So that's unfortunate. And I'll try to actually good. Let's also get the monitor to be able to check for this kind of thing. We should have a monitor checking like this. like that some part of the prod side is actually rendering properly, as the monitors didn't catch this. The automatic agents that should run on the machine on a schedule, checking if prod is up. I actually do use agents to auto fix my site. If it ever goes down, they shall, on a cron, they will actually spin up and fix the site automatically. I'll just kind of make sure that doesn't happen again. Well, Claude will. Yes, you can see. So, oh, black. Not really doing anything. So, maybe that's an issue with what Claude's been doing. I might. Maybe I'll switch over to Codex High, because it's, what did I just say there? Something about $20. Maybe I'm like nearing my limit or something. Oh, I have no idea. I haven't used too much. Pull first. Yeah, it's going to rebase again. It's pretty annoying again. I was considering changing to JJ so it's not trying to do all this automatic merging type stuff. Like slow, you know, slow. I don't really care, it's just me working on my side project, so yeah, get merging should be fine. But not blowing away changes is, you know, much better than so that's fixing prod. So this is a bit of a, I'm looking at a change here, like, actually, no, we haven't got templates. Yeah, that's the thing of why, even though this takes a long time to build, it would be pretty hazardous for me to do the same kind of rewrite and SIG style stuff to this project, because it's you know, it needs to keep up to date with what OpenAI is doing, and they're doing a lot of work. They're refactoring their server. Actually, there's a server, a Codex server, that's going to be like one process on the one machine, and then all of the different chats are talking to that one server. So there's heaps of like bigger factors that are still coming into Codex that I need to be able to pull in. So it would be like pretty hazardous to try and rewrite it, and then it'll have to keep up to date with a different language codebase. It'll be obviously the merge complex will be. They wouldn't be merge complex. You would have to rewrite everything every time they release new models and such. And I've already done quite a lot of change in here. Like it started off as just like a fun. I'll just like make it run forever. That would be funny. Like try and recreate heaps of Adobe software, heaps of advanced video editors and audio editors and such. But I was getting more serious. I've actually got a product that you know, is down right now. But once this comes back, it will. It's like a very useful project. You can run your own server, basically, your own like instances of I'll have to list some of that. So you can run your own run forever agents basically on very cheap hardware, cheap bare metal servers, and you can keep them alive and yeah, actually run like production workloads from that are just all in this similar kind of run forever Vibecoded style. And we're pretty early, we're still so early, so that this type of thing, eventually people will get used to like the concept of your code living forever. So it's like it's always changing and always getting fixed by agents if it ever goes down, or if your dependencies change. If you're relying on some CDNs, it can actually automatically go out the web, find new dependencies, and then change URLs, put them back. If a model goes down, it can just automatically, an AI agent can spawn up and reroute you, actually do the ops and the troubleshooting on live. That's kind of the idea of these run forever agents, and then a platform for them. Kind of put everything in one as well. All the tools, it's got an art generator in there with the API. So yeah, I think that's useful. Yeah. So this is a bit hard to know if it's that looks like it's just yeah, so it does have this let's see if it's done like a decent job of it. Yep. Important, if you've really completed everything, you must write done to this file. Yeah, that's pretty interesting. That was how it's supposed to work. So so it's two layers. It's not just like Ralphing. It's not just like saying the same thing again. It's much smarter than that. It's mostly model driven, really. It's just letting the model go for a really, really long time, and then the next idea things that takes it into like project manager stage, really, where it's like figure out what else to do, even on top of everything you've done. That's interesting. Sounds like it's doing some kind of automatic context thing there. Really nothing straight. So interesting. It seems like it's kind of understood. Well, I should review the code a bit more, but sounds like it's kind of got it, and I'll actually test it out. Probably just doing the same thing now. Yep. If waves are still, I doubt it. Yeah, it's not. Black screening still. Write a file with the actual render, and then use the read tool so that you can understand if it like actually looks good like an island with a water and a Aurora Borealis over it. I'll try this tactic, but that's the limits of what they're really good at. I think Gemini's supposed to be leading on this kind of thing, like the visual reasoning. It's kind of hard for them to be front-end developers as well, because of it's just a bit hard to reason about, like especially at a low resolution. They're not very good at high resolution kind of reasoning over like, does this image look, are there any like things that would make you think this is a CGI image or something, so you can't really like zoom in and it'll probably just be guessing. Like, it'll know a lot from an image. I think it's better than captioning. It can kind of say like, yeah, this is an island with a, or in that case, things tend to be looking too smooth and too low res and stuff. It'll kind of have some ideas about why something doesn't look realistic in general and it looks too CGI, but it won't. It's only only understands images at set resolution, and like OpenAI API's got a detail low parameter that I don't even think it changes much. You can use detail high and it does some kind of tiling, but it's about the same as sending the detail low image. Last time I changed, maybe a few models ago, but found it. Yeah, here we go. Here is our Codex Infinity app. We're back. You can do this kind of thing, what we're doing here, with the run forever agents. And I've been making something here called EduKit, something to help kids learn. They're homeschooled, so let's make another game, this time about Greek mythology, Roman mythology, and Norse mythology. With various different levels of depth and stories. Four different age levels. I won't use the run forever, I'll just use that Codex Infinity is the fork we're working on. The open source fork that could just support Gemini, Claude, but that's actually through the Codex agent, the Rust agent. And you can go in here and it'll start. Start imaging. Looks like I need to fix my API key. It will try other agents, maybe this. Yeah, I'll just update my API key, but I do have something that keeps it refresh, so maybe there's an issue with that. It'll automatically refresh your refresh token because it gets quite annoying having to re-sign in all the time. And you can actually even make automatically expose this actual machine on a real URL, which is going to be pretty cool. So you can actually complete an app here. And I've got add-ons like Postgres and such, so it'll be a bit of a white glove kind of build your own app experience, really. Consider giving this a try. Yeah, early days. Still live. I think there's some weird issue with my GitHub. I wonder why that's happening. If I just go new terminal, surely it's been fixed. There's something wrong with my git remote there. I think it's fucked it up. Excuse me. Origin. Set. I won't set it to upstream. Should be the default. Should be origin. Something like that. Well, yeah, we were wanting to push to origin upstream. Sorry, quite lazy. Claude side or whatever could do this. It seems like an easy task to just fix my Git. Yeah, it's getting something. Yeah, some kind of a game. It doesn't have the art, but we're on the way to having this game complete. Maybe I'll check back in later with you guys and post the actual game as it's finished.